Welcome back to Living in My Mind. My name's Dennis Henning, and today I'm going to talk about, I always talk about how things can happen and what we make change in and how we change. And so the reality is, how do you change? Take a look at what you change. You change the way you look very often because you don't like the way you look. Do you change your clothes because you think you're going to look sexier? They're going to make you look thinner. It's fashion. They're expensive and you want people to know. I think the hardest thing about change is we really don't know what we need to do. We don't know the steps we need. In 2005, I went into treatment for my eating disorder, sex addiction, and the crazy shit in my head. And that was just very different because I had no idea that what I was doing wasn't helping me, because anything we deal with addiction, we think it's helping us at the moment. Anything we do with anger, it's helping us at the moment. We can justify what we do in the moment. Then when you stand back and you have some clarity, well, you might be in prison the rest of your life. You might have lost a friend. You might have someone divorcing you. You might have lost money. You might have lost this or that, whatever, because we're not clear. I think with change, for me, I know what I need to do. Now, do I do it all the time? Frick me, Jesus, no. I'm a gentleman who deals with an eating disorder. I know what foods make me feel good. I know what time at night I shouldn't eat. I know all the different things. To be honest with you, over the last 3 weeks, I've been on a watermelon binge. That's some good shit. But the bottom line is, watermelon just makes me sick. It makes me sick to where it goes right through me, throwing up, blah, 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 all the graphic stuff. But I say to myself, I'm going to do it one more time. I think many of us do that. We have one more time. That one more time, I've had one more time for 30 years. It's exhausting. Now, each day I get better. And then I always tell myself, and I think many of us do because I deal with a lot of people and I talk to them, well, shit, if I don't do it 100% right, my life is fucked. Your life isn't screwed. Allow yourself to make mistakes. If you don't allow the mistakes, you're never going to learn. Our biggest thing that we do is we learn from mistakes. We learn from failure. I don't know what your definition of failure is, but mine would be catastrophic. I wasn't able to do this. I wasn't able to eat before 5 p.m. I ate at 5:05. Oh my God, the world's over. What a loser. I'm never going to be successful. These are all the things that go through my head. And those of us who deal with eating disorders, male or female, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter what you identify, it's hell because we need that to survive. And so I'm using this as an example of what changes. If we know we need to change, then what do? Cognitively, we have to do something. We have to figure out how we're going to take what's in front of us and change it to something that's going to benefit us. You know, what do? A series of thoughts, actions, and functions bring about positive results, and that's what a process is. A series of thoughts, actions, and functions bring about positive results. Obviously, there are probably more words in there, but I only had 7 figures right here. And the reality is we have to think about that. How does the brain connect in order to remember what is learned? We can unlearn things, but there's a lot of work that has to be done. I learned change through getting in trouble from criminal activity. I learned change from losing relationships, from losing jobs, losing money in, I can't say what year, but about 5 years ago, I had 2 clients in Newport for the drug and alcohol. Between the two, I made over $60,000 a month. $60,000 a month. IRS, please don't contact me again. And one day I got pissed on December 23rd. I told them both what I thought about them. Within 48 hours, they were gone. I was irate. How dare you? You know what I've done for you, this and that. It didn't matter. Because remember, it doesn't matter what we do for other people. They can always replace us. But will they be as successful without us? Chances are no. But do they need our craziness, our psychosis, my vindictiveness, my everything that I went through? No, they don't need it. So I've had to learn that I'm responsible. And so the changes I make are not easy, are not fun, because I always want to be that person that just say it, to, be transparent. But at the same time, am I doing myself any good? A lot of times, no. Am I doing the person any good? No, because if I call you out on something and I don't help you find a way to change it, then I'm not doing any good other than doing what people have done to me. Degrade me, shame me, ridicule me, laugh at me. I've been that person to many people. I don't want to be that person anymore. And it's not freaking easy. Just not easy. The one thing about change is, okay, what do? How do we make change? Number one, honesty with ourselves. I think that's the most identifiable thing for me is we have to identify what it is we need to change. What do we want to change? And then I write things down. I have a journal. I've had it for 30 something years and it's got full of crap, but it's the same thing over and over a lot. I got to do this. I got to do that. Once you put it into action, you have an opportunity for things to talk about with other people to help you make those changes. It's hard to do it alone. We all need support. We need that cheerleader on the side, and I mean that in a positive way. We need that person that says, I know you can do it. I'm going to help keep you accountable. How do you keep yourself accountable? It's hard for us to keep ourselves accountable. We got to trust people, and trust is such a hard thing for me. I've never had anybody in my life that I could trust that would help keep me accountable, that didn't have some type of purpose other than helping me. And that's not easy. So the first thing you got to do is identify and write that down. Write down what you identify. Then the reality is you have to recognize it's the truth. And these are things that have helped me work on myself and that I work with other people. Recognize, even though you identify something, it's a good thing. How many of you understand zinc? If you were to see zinc, I don't really know. So I can identify, and then I have to take it further and recognize what it actually is. How many of us ever seen a painting that's a beautiful painting that's supposed to be by one of the famous painters? Then you look a little further and you realize it's a fraud, it's a phony. So there's a big difference there. So you have to really do that for yourself. And how you need to do that is write down what it is. Because the one thing I've learned in life, I can talk to you, I can talk to Mark, I can talk to whoever. It's a nice conversation. But if it's in writing, it's more of a reality. Then it's there. You put it in writing. I put it in writing. I'm reading it. I'm looking at it. And I'm thinking, Jesus, did I really write that? Did I really write that? And if I wrote it, it means more. Because we all are very good at talking. We all are very good at jibber jabber, saying the same thing over and over to ourselves. So we all justify it. Well, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it the next day. I've learned through two guys that I do some work with in Orange County, a guy named Evan and Link, get it done today. Get it done today with the work that I help them with. And that's helped me in my personal life as well. One of the most important things you can't do is overanalyze. And we overanalyze. A good example is how many of us get dressed to go out? You feel comfortable, you look great, and you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, crap. You don't look anything other than really good, but your mind looks at something different. You might think, oh my God, my belly's showing. Or my God, my hair's not done. So what do? You overanalyze. The only way success happens is if you take a chance. Think about sports. Great players, it's not what they do on the court that makes them great. It's just not. It's what they do behind the scene. The sweat, the hours, the sleepless nights, going to the gym, eating right, doing all these things, learning their craft. That's why athletes are phenomenal to me, and you can always use them as examples because there's so many talented men and women in sports who just never made it to the highest pinnacle because they didn't put the time in. It's like anything. If you don't put the time in, you're never going to have the results you want. So stop talking about it. Don't overanalyze. Just do it and see what the results are. Because one thing about failure, everybody has a different definition. I don't really know what it means because if you're not successful today, you try tomorrow. So what is the definition of failure? Everybody thinks it's like not being able to accomplish something, not being able to do it. A good example, I had a guy I grew up with. We used to go to clubs when we were younger. He had the best way of meeting girls. He'd go up to the table, ask one to dance. They said no, he'd ask the other. He kept that, and he's like, sooner or later, somebody's going to say yes. And it was always interesting. Sooner or later, somebody said yes. So that's the way. You just don't give up. You really march forward. And if you need to, find somebody else that you can help, and they can help you become accountable. Talk to someone. Everybody thinks I can do it alone. No, we can't. I've thought I could do it alone for years, and I still can't. I still sometimes think. But I have a couple of people that I can throw things at, knowing that they love me, they care, they're going to talk to me, not at me, and they're going to say whether or not they think it's a good idea. And then I make that decision based upon somebody else's input. Many of us don't do that. We just don't. It's something that's going to help you in many ways to really take a look at what you have in front of you. And is it really something I can do? Or do I need other people? Can I do it alone? Or is it something that really is unattainable? How many of us have created something in our lives that we know is unattainable? And it's not because we don't have the ability. It's because we haven't done the back end work. How many of us want a quick fix? Okay, how many of us out there have ever wanted to lose weight? It doesn't matter, eating disorder, obesity. We're not talking about that. How do you lose weight? The biggest way you lose weight is the food. You can go to the gym and work for 6 hours, sweat your ass off, have the greatest workout, and eat the worst food. Now, some people, their metabolism is different. They look great. But in order for change, there's things we need to do in the back end. What I do for change is when I get up in the morning, I have a tremendous amount of anxiety before I start interacting with people, with work, personal, what have you. Sometimes I'm still frozen for a couple hours. I get up at 3:15, 3:33, in between those hours, and I do a great workout. I combine something called Pilates and Legree, all body on body weight. I have some weights, but it's about an hour and 20 minutes. That helps me through the rest of my day because I'm doing the back end thing that makes me feel good about myself, helps keep me healthy, helps make me feel better about myself, and it's an accomplishment. Many of us don't give ourselves any credit for things we accomplish. We just don't. Somebody else will give us all the credit in the world, and we're like, well, I hate that person. What are they, blind? They're disgusting. They're lying to me. No, they're not. We're our own worst enemy in many, many ways. So when we make the changes from choices, it's a beautiful gift, and we all can. You can text on the number down here. If you need some help, if you're interested in interacting, definitely would love to hear from you. Definitely would love to read some text messages or phone calls so you can share and talk about what you do and how it helps you. That's the important thing, interacting. Like this show. My show would never be anything, and right now it is what it is, if I didn't have other people helping me and saying, hey, you got to do, the people who do the production, the people who are part of everything, the people who put it out there. I don't know how to do any of that. So it's all about working together, but it's choices, making the choices that help. Another thing is when you're alone, what do you go through? I would believe, because I know in myself, when I'm alone, I deal with my honesty. Am I a piece of shit today? Did I do something wrong? Did I hang something on somebody else that was on me? What did I do? That's the honesty. And then all of a sudden I get engulfed with this fear. Well, shit, I didn't hear from people that I'm consulting with. So shit, they're going to fire me. They're going to replace me. How the hell am I going to do this? What am I going to do here? I don't owe this person something, but I think I want them to like me. If they're in my life, I don't want them not to be in my life. So we do things and say things. The problem is we don't change. So we'll continue to find the different people. In my personal life, for almost a 4-year period, the only people I spent time with, the only women I spent time with were escorts, or whatever you want to call them. And the reality is it wasn't about people coming in my life. It was like, I'm giving you something, go away. You get what you need, I get what I need. I don't think there's wrong with anybody having that type of arrangement. Anybody thinks there's something wrong with that? No. For years, women have been doing things with men and getting nothing. This doesn't devalue anybody or me. But then again, there was no emotional connection. And I realized with the women, there was no emotional connection on their end. So we all had something that was not healthy for us, no matter what. I ended up falling in love with someone I met on a website like this. I will never discuss it other than this because I don't know the person's life now, what they're doing. I hope they're doing amazing. But I used to think to myself, Jesus, what a pathetic person. I had to do this in order to have someone. But no, because you start out one way and it can end a different way all the time. That's the beauty of being honest with yourself, because we all want everybody to be proud of us. We want people to tell us you're doing a great job. But we need people to tell us the truth. Hey, you messed up here. And talking to us. That's another thing. So many people talk at us. And I'm guilty of it. I've done it in the past. I probably still do it. And when people tell me, I'm like, crap, I didn't realize that. When we're so used to getting our point across one way, it doesn't work that way. we have to really be able to make changes, to sort things out, and see exactly where everything we're working on. One of the biggest things I do, and I said earlier, is I journal. I'm looking at, this is a book that I work with and I wrote and I help people. I journal because it's real. And one mistake I've made my whole life is trying to convince myself in my journal that everything's going to be great. It's a great day. Everything is good. I had a great workout. I ate good. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if it wasn't a great day and I wrote it down and somebody read my journal, they're going to find me as a liar, a hypocrite, pathetic, someone who isn't successful. But I realized those are the things that got me to where I am now. And there's a lot of times if we take a pause and look around, that it comes back to us. And I don't mean us in a way that we are the center of everybody's world, but we are the center of our own. We matter. You matter and I matter. The only time we don't matter is when we tell ourselves. Then we make our lives as if we don't matter. We take ourselves away from what's making us happy, who's making us happy. It's interesting, when my mom passed away, I talked to my nephew a couple months after, and he's like, well, Dad says you haven't talked to him a lot. And I thought about it. I text him all the time, but no, we didn't. And it had more to do with me than anything, because my connection going home 90% of the time was my mom. But then I realized that, I didn't think about that. And when we withdraw from other people or work or situations, the bottom line is we're the one responsible if something goes wrong. It's a shitty thing to say. We all deal with some trauma. We all have trauma, and all our trauma could be different. A good example, someone could pass away, be traumatic to you. This person could have lost a diary that their grandmother gave them when their grandmother's younger. Even though they're two separate things, the trauma of that can affect them both the same and just as drastic. So please don't negate how somebody else feels. Because the reason we negate how other people feel is because we negate our own feeling. How many times you ever had somebody say, well, I could do that, or I didn't do this? How many conversations you have with someone and they actually listen to you and hear what you say rather than waiting for you so they could just jump right in? It's like talk shows out there. I love talk shows. I watch them once in a while and I realize that, wow, sports talk shows are great. It's only opinion. It's just people giving an opinion on something that's solid right in front of them. But here's the thing too. How many of these people who do sports shows out there like it when athletes turn around and say something? There's a guy named Stephen A. Smith. He's on ESPN and everything. And he just recently had some jobs back and forth with a guy from Fox. And it's interesting. He degrades people all the time. He puts people down. He's very misogynistic, the inappropriate comments about women that he's made and about other races. Baseball player, to be specific, in the past. But if you could do it, why can't someone do it to you? So think about it. My brother told me a little while back, he goes, Dan, look, I don't care about this and that. He goes, just stop being a fucking liar. I lie out of fear. And I do it to this day. But then I realize I don't have to lie. I tell him the truth. Oh, it's such a relief. When we lie, then there's 30 other fucking different things that come following us. When I lie, I got, oh shit, did I do this? Did I do that? Type of thing. Now, I'm not saying I lie all the time, but I lie when I'm in fear. And I live in fear quite a bit personally, not professionally, none of that. But anybody that doesn't say on a day-to-day basis that they lie is a liar. I'm a bona fide fucking grade A liar. And at times I'm okay with it. And at times I realize shit, because here's the thing. One of the most important things in the world is trust. If you can't trust yourself to tell the truth, why should anybody fucking trust you or me? And it's little white lies that really fuck us up, because then they turn into the hugest things in the world. And that's something you don't want to be part of, because the reality is you're the problem. I'm the problem in my life. I'm involved with some wonderful projects, and I sit back and think, well, fuck, it's only going to go if I finish this, if I do this. 9% of the time it's true, but those people in my life, they're helping me to a degree. So I lean on them, they lean on me. It doesn't always be it be 50. Nothing's 50-50. I think other than the state of California, when you go to a divorce, you got to give 50% of whoever, whatever the deal is. But nothing in a relationship, business, personal, sexual, fun, nothing's 50-50. There's compromise. But when we compromise with ourselves, we're a whole entity. But when I'm involved with somebody else, there's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. But when I compromise and I do things 50-50, I fucking lose on a day-to-day basis. I wanted to share this. If it sounds like I'm rambling, probably am. But the bottom line is there is something you can get out of this. And I guarantee you. Text the number, call the number, interact with me. Let's see if we can communicate. Love to hear what you have to say. But I appreciate your time. This is Living in My Mind. I'm Dennis Henning.